You alright?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, it's alright actually. I mean, well, I'm just about holding on there, really.
Yeah, for
I, th-
sure.
I think it's a bit like kind of everyone is, to be honest with you, at the moment.
Yeah, been a
It's,
Yeah,
a,
time.
it's been a bit of a strange time, the whole lockdown sort of thing.
yeah, definitely. How you've been coping with it? Has it been okay? Or
I think that it's been like, I've been up, it's been like, it's had its ups, peaks and troughs, I think,
yeah,
Yeah,
with so many things. I think, because obviously, like, usually around this time, I'd be running around a field somewhere,
yeah,
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 so, um, and yeah, so it's been like a bit like it's given me some time to reflect on a few things, but then also having things like doing this conversation series has definitely really helped give me some focus.
mm,
yeah. That's
It's
good.
like given me like so I've had like at least two or three things each week where it's been like, right, okay, I've got a regular structure.
yeah,
I'm doing this thing on Friday, then it's kind of like I've been doing stuff like sometimes like online drawing groups on like the Monday sort of thing. And so, yeah, I've tried to kind of fill my time up as much as possible to keep it, kind of constructive.
Yeah, no, that's good. Same as us.
yeah. That's all you can do, really, isn't it? Just try and routine in a way.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is that a lot of people would have been affected is by having their routine thrown out. You
Mm,
know,
absolutely, yeah.
I mean, like I found myself. I went to live with my parents for about 3 weeks because I had builders working on my flat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm back in my flat at the moment.
Oh, nice.
that's
So
good.
yeah, yeah, it was really nice. It was like I've been back here for about a week and a half,
yeah,
and yeah, it took a little while still to finish it because they've still got like little tiny things to do. But it's like last Monday, finally the roof, the flooring got put down. The actual, it got recarpeted and everything. So it's been like, well,
oh,
hey, I can actually live back in my kitchen again.
yeah. That's good.
Yeah, and I pretty much instantly celebrated last night because I pretty much turned most of my kitchen into an art studio.
Oh,
Oh,
well.
nice.
So I pretty much did. So I was like, right, okay. I got given a whole load of new materials. So I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna listen to records whilst painting.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really sweet, and it was just like, right, okay, and um, yeah, I think it's a bit like kind of. I feel like as if I can re-own my space again to a
Mm,
certain extent.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
I just wish we could re-own the spaces again in the live music venues.
Yeah, I know. It's a upsetting time really seeing so many venues struggling and in Manchester as well, like two of our kind of like most treasured venues have sadly been forced to close, which is
Yeah,
shame and yeah, it's kind of like a lot of small venues are really suffering, which is sad.
Yeah,
no. Believe it or not, it's like if it wasn't for the small venues, that's how I would have heard of you guys.
Yeah, for sure, exactly. Yeah, it's
So,
important.
I reckon it must have been about 5 years ago that the Louisiana show with sports team.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, true.
You know,
First time in Bristol.
yeah,
yeah,
damn.
that that was like 2015, 2016, was it?
16, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
Yeah, so it'd make it more like about 4ish years ago, but it's amazing just to see how things have evolved since back then, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
mean,
exactly, yeah.
no one could have predicted sports team to take off the way which they have done.
Oh yeah. Mercury Prize nominees now as
I
well.
know, I
Yeah,
know. Along I mean, to be honest, it's pretty good. That's a pretty good Mercury list, actually.
mm,
Yeah.
I think that that it means that I feel ultra lucky to have got Anna Meredith on my chat on my conversations list. Really,
oh,
Nice.
sweet.
yeah, because she got shortlisted for Fibs, and like
Yeah.
that record is it's amazing. But it's like it's I would describe her stuff as like because she blends like the worlds of classical and techno together
Oh, mad. I'll have to.
in a way which is like, oh yeah, it's it's the sort of thing which Marianne Hobbs loves.
Yeah.
Because of like she plays with like she has like a live band that she plays with, but it's also like watching how she's figuring out things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like how much sub bass could you get from a tuba? It's basically how a lot of sub bass.
Yeah.
How it's like kind of playing around with like kind of like the ideas of like kind of taking like the fringes of different music and mixing them together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, her shows are like
Listen so much.
No.
I mean, it's really great 'cause, like, there was, because I hadn't actually ever spoken to her, apart from saying very briefly hello to her after the gig that she played at the Trinity in February. But even that was a bit rushed because everyone was like, because all the security were like, right, okay, we've got to get everyone out, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But so I actually could have gained to chat to her. I must admit, I spent about 2 hours after the conversation just staring at this blank screen, going, "That really happened."
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's partly that she was kind of like talking about how she composes and like, because obviously like it was like halfway through the lockdown, so it was like I guess a lot of things were on my mind were like about like kind of nature and how I've been watching nature take over things.
Yeah. It's nice to have been like doing a bit of that and like getting in touch with like gardening and that sort of thing a bit more.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah. I mean, like also even if it's just going out to like the local parks, because where I live, I don't actually have a garden because I'm on the top upstairs flat.
Right. Yeah.
But I've got several really nice parks close to me.
Nice.
So, like I kind of there's parent like so basically I'm up on a hillside,
Yeah.
and so like I've got Parrots Park, which is further up here, where you get the most amazing view of pretty much most of Bristol.
Yeah.
And so I'd kind of do a loop where I go around the top of that park, and then there's a massive park called Victoria Park,
Yeah.
and there's certain things which I'd noticed. So I'd noticed like obviously like the return of butterflies
Yeah.
and bumblebees. You know, like actually I had a bee fly into my flat this morning,
Yeah.
and yeah, that was really sweet. And then kind of like also noticing that sometimes I'll be taking my phone out I'll be playing live stream gigs on my phone because I'll be doing like lots of like live streaming.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll be taking them out whilst I'll be walking like in the park sort of thing, and trying to I guess trying to spot if anything was reacting to the sounds of the phone.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So like for instance, like I had this to the kit. I when they did the show for the Royal Albert Hall, their live stream sort of thing. I was like out in one of the parks, and I was like trying to see if any of the birds, of like any of the starlings or anything, if they were reacting
Yeah.
That's nice.
reacting to the sounds, and then yeah, just seeing. I just wondered how that impacted upon you guys.
Yeah. We were talking about like maybe incorporating, especially like whilst we couldn't get into the studio and stuff, kind of doing more field recordings. So like yeah, finding some really beautiful spots in nature and then recording kind of like the little things that we hear. And where was that place in Manchester you were on about with like the poles or something that made?
Oh, the singing ringing tree.
Yeah, the singing ringing
Yeah, there's
tree.
this huge like sculpture just outside of Manchester, and it's all these old kind of metal poles together in different shapes and stuff, and depending on which way the wind hits them,
Yeah, that's
the
the sound they make.
chords and stuff. And we've not been yet, but it looks really really nice.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's the thing. So I think that's what I'd be thinking about is like how would you like kind of taking from this situation progress it into your like kind of songwriting, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you're thinking about it, like kind of maybe thinking about like kind of like recording with different sounds and
Yeah.
actually playing around with found sounds is I think it's kind of quite freeing.
Yeah, definitely something we want to kind of get into. And like, do you know Beverly Glenn Copeland?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did it where like she recorded in a field near to her house in like Canada, and yeah, kind of like based her sound around the environment that she was in, and like of the woodlands that she was like recording in. So I think it's really nice. Like, I do think a lot of people's sound now will have evolved because people are finding new ways of like, yeah, kind of listening to stuff. And yeah,
I actually saw her play at St George's Hall in Bristol last November, and it was like it was really amazing because of I just remember it just being like a kind of really beautiful, like kind of spiritually uplifting
yeah.
practice. And yeah, I did a drawing of her while she was playing, which is somewhere around. Oh, here we go. Here's Henry. Here comes trouble then.
I don't know if he's joining.
I definitely saw the click that they had made. So, hello, Henry. Can we hear you? Can you hear us?
Hey,
Hello.
how's it going, man? You alright?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry.
Oh, it doesn't matter, dude. You're here now.
Yeah,
There's always going to be someone who's a bit late.
yeah. I'm always late for Zoom meetings, and it's funny because I don't even have to leave my apartment.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's because of like sometimes we just let time slide, though, don't we?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And also sometimes, especially, I mean, like for me, I usually make sure that I'm pretty much on time for these kind of things.
Yeah,
Because it is slightly nerve-wracking, even if it's people that I know quite well, like you guys.
yeah. I know what you mean. It's scary.
Yeah, I usually spend like sometimes a good hour psyching myself up, going like, what mood are these people going to be in?
Oh man.
Like kind of, what am I going to talk about?
Mm,
Which direction is this conversation going to take?
Yeah, I guess that's the beauty of it, though.
Yeah, and I think it's like I said it to someone else. I think that I only get scared about or anxious about things because I care about them,
yeah, 100%.
and so it's like doing this. It is like kind of scary, but also at the same time, it's like kind of extremely confidence building.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Because
So,
sure to be like a bit anxious about it. Like, as you say, it kind of shows that you're invested in it.
yeah,
Nice thing when you reflect on it.
well, there's also like as if in especially with one or two of the people I've spoken to, like some of them are people I've never actually met before.
mm,
Yeah.
I mean, like, so like I was speaking to a girl called Alicia Gaines who co-fronts a band called Ganza, who
right.
to release a really, really good album. I just like it was one of those things because all these people are basically people I've mostly approached.
Right. Yeah.
It's like kind of mostly me going like on their kind of like Instagram or Twitter pages and going like, do they have a message function?
Yeah,
I like a few of their songs. Let's see if they react.
yeah,
See?
And just like it has been like kind of I've been amazed with some of the responses which I have had.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like as if I'm still like kind of if I ever do get stuck for words, I'm still getting used to it really.
Mm.
Yeah. Have you been doing many then? Like, how many have you done now?
This is probably like my 8th.
Oh, nice. Who else have you had on?
Well, we've had Bill Ryder Jones,
Oh, sweet.
Anna Meredith, Jeff from Heavenly,
Nice.
Tim Burgess, Nadine Shah,
Wow, big names, man. Who's your booking agent?
partly Sybil, I think. New week. Zena, who I've known for quite well because she works for Partisan, but she used to work at the Fleece.
Oh, yeah.
Like I knew her from like a while back, sort of thing. Who else have I done? So I did Alicia from Ganza, as I mentioned, and yeah, those have been the main ones really.
Sweet.
Yeah, Kate Stables as well.
Nice.
So I've known her for like must be going on to like 16 years.
Wow.
It's like, because I kind of vaguely knew her from the Bristol scene because she used to be in like quite a few alternative Bristol-based kind of folk outfits.
Mm,
She was in like Whalebone Polly, so but there's like the trio of her, Rosie Plain, and Rachel Dad, and they all
right.
work on the Bristol ferries.
Oh wow, no way.
It seems to have quite a big like folk scene, really like music there.
Yeah. Well, also like I think that, but I mean, so yeah, I've managed to get her, and their new single is amazing. The new This the Kid single is so good. So
Oh, I've
this,
not heard it yet.
this is what you did, and it's basically, I think it's the one which they premiered at the as part of like the Royal Albert Hall at Home show,
Nice.
and it was
Right.
like I think it's like a kind of protest song about the NHS.
Oh really?
Oh really?
But yeah,
Shit.
so it's like it's very subtle with its messaging, but I think it is about like kind of like the privatization of it through the Tories basically.
Yeah.
Mm,
So I think because she doesn't necessarily, because the thing is what I really admire about her and her songwriting is that sometimes she'll talk about something, but she won't always be direct and really obvious with it.
yeah. Just very subtle in her themes.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot
I'll
more
have to check it out.
there's a lot
it's
of music now that's kind of like touching on like all the I don't
Yeah.
know things that have happened throughout this lockdown now.
yeah.
A lot of people will be channeling it through the music.
I think that's definitely going to happen. Because also like Charlie XCX, who managed to make the Mercury's list. She basically wrote
Oh
her
yeah.
entire record during lockdown.
Yeah, I saw that actually.
I think actually that's quite an amazing achievement to be able to actually get a record written and recorded
In
Yeah.
that time scale.
time scale and actually get it kind of produced. I mean, I haven't actually listened to it yet, but I've heard loads of people say that it is really good.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing is that sometimes, because I guess that sometimes I depend on like the old-fashioned way of like releases, you know, like kind of record shops and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas artists now can just like bang stuff out on a laptop and just put it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think Charlie XX is definitely one of them like very 21st century pop artists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing her. Must have been about. I'm just trying to figure out how many years ago it was that I saw her, because I saw her play at Stand and Cooling Festival. Must have been about
Oh yeah.
13, 24.
Wow.
You know, so that was like on her first record sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's amazing just to think that there are people who have carved out basically entire careers without, I guess, releasing a physical product.
Yeah, it's the new age, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like it so much.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
because the thing is that as well as also like important things for me were like music venues, but also record shops.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things, whether it be like hanging around places like either Friendly Records or even places like Rough Trade,
Yeah.
where I'd find myself randomly taking punts on records.
Yeah.
Partly they look good, or because of like they allow you actually able to listen to the records.
Yeah.
You go home excited to listen through it rather than like if you're looking online just for this record that you know you want.
Mm.
Kind of like it's a bit more underwhelming, but yeah, I've been doing the same throughout lockdown, like trying to buy records that I don't actually know and still supporting like local businesses and stuff and seeing what they're recommending and just like going for it if it looks good.
Yeah, I mean, like I used to do like one of my favourite labels was found literally because of I went into Friendly Records one day, which is like the nearest record shop to me,
Mm.
and there's a really great kind of synth electro label called Polytechnic Youth,
Nice.
Okay.
and I partly discovered them because of I picked up one of their records and went, hang on, this is really cheap.
Yeah.
Like then went and like kind of and Tom, who's the shop owner, basically said, yeah, that's a really good album.
Mm.
And
Mm.
kind of listened to it and went, this is great.
Yeah.
So pretty much every single time that they've gotten like any Polytechnic Youth records in, it's pretty much out comes a credit card. It's like kind of your mind sort of thing. But I think that, and I think that is kind of like it's still like an important culture. I think for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Also, there's been like, I mean, sometimes what I'll find, admittedly, I'll admit to do this, where I will actually buy the records, but sometimes end up actually streaming the records.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, artists the physical money.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because I think that's probably just as important as actually sometimes playing the physical things.
Mm.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
I
I
think-
guess streaming sites are so accessible now as well that it's not difficult to believe that they are.
Yeah,
You know, like, you know, with a massive range of artists just like so easily there at your fingertips, like to listen to. It doesn't surprise me how they are.
I mean, I tend to, so what I usually do is I probably buy the records, but then also like I'd go and stream it off Bandcamp.
Mm.
Because I'd much rather support like something like Bandcamp, where I've also ordered a few things through.
Yeah.
Like, because obviously I was due to go out to South by Southwest, where you guys were due to be playing,
Yeah.
which
Oh, was it going to be your first year at South by?
yeah, it's my first,
Yeah.
it's gonna be my first time actually in America.
Oh, no way.
Uh.
I'm gutted for you, man.
Yeah, well, you know, thing is, though, is that there are people in much worse situations than I'm in.
Yeah,
You know, it's to be like,
100%.
I'm lucky I've still got people who support me, you know. And
Mm.
there's other people who are in, you know, like kind of much worse either financial situations or that they found themselves in places where they actually are homeless.
Yeah, true.
So I guess that's the thing is that I guess with all artists, all their income streams would have been kind of cut off, and also not just artists, but also people who make things like film and TV.
Yeah, yeah.
I think, yeah, which I think is kind of quite a scary situation to be in.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. The whole creative sector just got cut off within like a week's notice.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
And it's like we're all the ones who are expected to do things like still be producing music but putting it out for free, or like live streams for free sort of thing. And it's like,
Yeah,
does everyone decide now like actually we need to like start charging for these?
I mean, whereas I'm actually kind of like, I'd happily pay for live streams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would. Like I definitely would as well.
I paid to watch the Nick Cave one last night.
Oh, yeah. How's that?
Amazing.
Nice.
My reaction afterwards was basically like, I spent an hour and a half with God.
Nice.
So also happens to have the best eyebrows.
Oh, yeah, man.
You just look at them, they almost like, it's almost like as if they're like kind of mini forests growing above his eyes. They probably do stick out.
Yeah.
But no, it was amazing. It was like really beautifully filmed because of I think that he'd basically pre-filmed it all in Ali Pali,
Oh no.
and so it was like with like when we say like HD cameras, it was like really high-end film cameras that they were using. So it had like a kind of really cinematic quality to it.
Oh no.
We
Wow.
watched Wings of Desire the other day. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's got the Nick Cave performance in that as well. So like he's kind of used to doing cinematic like
Yeah,
film performances. Yeah.
that's the thing. But then the thing is, though, it's Nick Cave. It's kind of what you'd expect from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect him to like try and do something like kind of, I guess, really lo-fi over Instagram.
No.
You can imagine that. It would have to be something with like kind of high bandwidth.
Yeah.
I mean, but then the thing is, I mean, like, because obviously, like, the other ones which I've actually, all the ones I've paid for have been really, really generally high quality.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, like, I've got Björk's doing a whole series of them from Iceland.
Wow.
You know, like in August, where she's performing with like over 100 musicians.
Wow.
It's like she's basically booked out. it's like Iceland's biggest concert hall, basically.
Yeah,
Mm.
So it's like over like
I think we went actually.
to 3,000, capacity. But like she's doing different. It's like each one of the shows that she's doing is completely different sets, and it's completely non-electronic. So it's all like her,
Oh, wow.
with like an orchestra and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Luminac.
Like imagine that being kind of like quite amazing.
That sounds
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's stuff like Idols are doing like live stream for their album launch, and then like
Mm.
you got stuff like Sleaford Mods from the 100 Club, which I know will be.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'll definitely be like kind of high quality, like kind of high levels in HD cameras sort of thing.
Yeah. It's just saying to say Big Thief, I think, are doing a masterclass tonight. It's like £15 or something, but
Oh, nice.
might.
Then again, that's Big Thief though, isn't it? To be honest, she's an amazing songwriter.
Yeah, she is.
I mean, I think that they're definitely one of those bands of the last 5 years which have kind of, I think a bit like Sharon Van Etten, where they've really taken people back.
Mm.
Yeah, very
And like, but also like, I was really amazed the last time that I saw them play, which would have been probably would have been last year actually.
yeah.
We played SWX,
Yeah.
and it was really funny because they had a night where they had, which has happened a couple of times, where they have had rhyming band names in venues on opposite sides of the street. So you had Big Thief at the SWX.
Yeah.
In Rough Trade, they had Big Brave.
Nice.
Contrasting bands.
Yeah.
So you can imagine me, like, kind of like, sat in between going, Big Thief, Big Brave, Big Jeff, Big Trouble.
Nice.
I say something like that. But yeah, it was almost verging on metallic, actually. I guess especially when Adrian started like screaming. I was like, wow, okay, I wasn't quite expecting this.
Mm.
Yeah, I think they're some of the most like innovative performers and songwriters I've seen kind of for a while in like the genre of like indie music, I suppose. Like just all of their little sessions they seem to do. They always kind of like adapt ways of playing and stuff. So yeah, really inspiring as a band.
Yeah.
Also, because they put out so much output anyway. I mean, they've been releasing maybe 3 albums a year for the past 4 years. If you think about it.
Wow.
Also, like Adrian's done like quite a few solo records as well.
Mm.
So I always got the sense that when I saw them play at the Louisiana, I always got the sense that they were all continuously writing all the time
Yeah.
when they're on tour.
Mm.
And I think that, yeah, especially if you're like kind of, I guess, putting your life continuously through that kind of art form sort of thing.
Yeah.
You are literally living your art.
Yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd also say on that tip, if you like their sort of things, you should check out a band called Maita.
Okay.
Just released their debut album, spelled Maita, who are from Portland, Oregon.
All right.
Like they're on Kill Little Rock Stars,
Oh, cool.
which is a really great like kind of indie rock label.
Mm.
Maria, who does most of the songwriting for them, is I don't basically describe it as a bit like a female Elliott Smith.
Oh, wow.
Like with
Nice.
like lyrical ability, there's definitely like
Yeah.
shards of that, and like kind of cat power,
Yeah.
and like kind of, I was going to say probably a bit of Big Thief in there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Has it been like, so I saw them do a couple of like live streams for like Pitchfork Instagram, where it was her and her partner, who's the guitarist. I can't remember his name off the top of my head because literally they've only just released their debut album. And it was just like one of those things where I sat down and I was like, because I'm watching it going, yep, this is really good. So, okay, halfway through the first song, go, yep, this is awesome. So, right, if I find this record in my local shop, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
sort of thing. I think that's the thing is that I have also used it to try and discover as many random artists as possible
Yeah.
Yeah.
just by clicking on random live streams.
Yeah.
Because like the thing is, though, so we don't always think about it. Because I guess that we think about sometimes music in the old format of like kind of going to shows and buying
Yeah.
like merchandise and stuff like that, and how I mean I know how important that can be, but we also don't think of the importance of video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really highlighted who's more internet savvy and prepared for this kind of new climate of the music industry and who really isn't.
Yeah, I'm thinking as well, it's just going to be such a tough year ahead for like, bands that would be playing DIY sort of shows now and on small sort of circuits, because that's where you get spotted and you get booked for festivals.
Yeah.
Bigger, and now it's like the competition is going to be so intense when we all go back.
Yeah, there's a climate of super saturation about to happen, where the venues are just waterlogged with bands.
Yeah.
I think they already are that because obviously we like all the backlog as well.
Yeah.
Shows which have to reschedule and then like kind of, I mean, like also a lot of the venues have had to adapt as well.
Yeah.
Have to like adapt to whether it's like social distancing policy or like, like kind of whether it's like making people like wear masks or like kind of, but or like finding new innovative ways to do performances.
Yeah.
Because I think like sometimes shows don't always have to be inside.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So you could take like you could do like a properly DIY show, like literally if in like a kind of abandoned street somewhere.
Yeah.
If you like find like so long as you make sure that people are keeping relatively their distance.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose that we're lucky in Bristol as if some of the venues do have the outside space.
Yeah, the Fleece has a nice little area, doesn't it? The street outside.
But also like the Exchange as well. The Exchange has got a really nice little area, which is different than the Fleece. It's like the bottom. It's like I find it hard to describe to people who don't know Bristol that well. It's like the bottom of an area called Old Market.
Right. Okay. I'm lost.
I thought you would. But it's one of those venues which I've really fell in love with, partly because of like everyone who works there is involved in the music scene. They're all involved. They're all either like songwriters or in bands or like they're all like they kind of they run the record shop upstairs. Which is called Specialist Subject Records.
Nice.
Especially in like kind of the more kind of emo kind of power punk sort of thing.
Right.
But they like kind of have put out albums by people like Dog Eyed and Dog Eyed is a really good Bristol band.
Yeah, I think I remember you've mentioned those guys before. I think.
Yeah, Harriet's a bit of a great songwriter. She's definitely like, but she's also an amazing guitarist. I mean, like, she does basically this. There's like certain sounds which I found myself like semi-romanticizing over.
Yeah.
Let's play a lot with the whammy bar.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm a sucker for anyone who likes to use whammy bar and like create like almost like a semi-romanticistic sound.
Right, I see.
Yeah, but yeah, they're basically like they're also really. It's also like I think it's one of the first venues in Bristol which is community owned.
Oh, nice. Yeah, like the Trades Club.
Yeah. So it's like not like owned by one person. It's owned by like a kind of consortium of people.
Yeah.
Thing. But I designed a T-shirt for them because they're doing like obviously fundraising T-shirts. I did like a kind of cartoony drawing of my wrist, You know,
Nice.
it's quite often what people will see is me fist pumping the air.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's like a kind of
It's a
power,
big jest.
especially if it's like a power pop show,
Mm.
something which I find really euphoric, that I would be, if I'm not drawing people, then I will be down the front fist pumping
Yeah.
to all the really cheesy anthemic moments.
Nice.
Get into that when you're watching the live streams.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. There've been several times when I've nearly broken my computer. Too excited.
Yeah.
Like so there was a fundraiser which was being run by the Colston Hall where they were doing like a Bristol takeover. So,
Hmm.
like a whole showcase. They did it twice, where they had like I think it's like over 13 hours of like kind of music from artists who are either based in Bristol or who had really strong connections to Bristol.
Right. It's
And
colossal.
oh yeah, man, it's huge. And the fact that they could fill out like 26 hours effectively
Mm.
of like 15-minute long videos.
Yeah.
But one of the performances was from Melt Yourself Down, who
Right.
originally thought, well, whose singer had lived in Bristol for about 6 or 7 years,
Yeah.
because he used to be in a band called Zundanegwi, who are like a Bristol-based, like kind of heavy Afro psych band,
Right.
and they played this one in particular song called "I'm gonna fix myself today," and I literally had to physically restrain myself. It was like, yeah, because I was watching it on the live stream on the YouTube, and I was also joining in the comments, and the comments went from like kind of just like, oh yeah, this is really exciting, to like, Jude, let's talk, you know, like seven.
That's going on behind the scenes, though, because I always worry like you're doing a live stream and everyone's just like sat in bed or something, kind of not paying attention. Like it seems a bit of a stale environment compared to like a gig where you're all together. So
It can be, but I think that I've noticed that sometimes with certain streams, I'd be like, okay, I know people who tune in for them.
yeah.
You know, so like for about 10 weeks, Specialist Subject had their live stream running every Tuesday,
Yeah.
and I'd pretty much switch on. They'd have like maybe 10 acts each week,
Wow.
doing like a 20-minute long set.
Mm.
But I'd recognise everyone in the comments. I'd be like, "Oh look, you're here! Surprise!"
Jeff still getting recognised even on the live stream.
Oh, yeah. Well, to be honest, it's not just me. I recognise them.
Yeah.
But then that's partly because I'd always post up a message saying, right, I want to send everyone virtual hugs,
Oh, yeah.
No.
and I almost line up the amount of people who wanted virtual hugs, sort of thing. So that's the one of the things which I had missed for ages.
Yeah.
Human contact.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Sure.
especially as I live on my own. So I was like living on my own for like pretty much 3 months, where occasionally I'd see people out when I'd be out walking, sort of thing.
Mm.
Daily, like kind of hour-long walk that I would do in the evenings.
Yeah.
Be like, right, I couldn't touch them.
Yeah. Because social isolation's been hard on a lot of people, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
I think,
as like as you kind of say, like musicians and you and stuff, like going out a lot and socialising, to suddenly go to nothing is like
Yeah.
such a
It's such an intrinsic part of the music culture in the UK is actually socialising.
but also the other thing is that it's not just the music culture, but it's also important for like mental health as well.
Yeah.
You know, like so like last Friday actually was my first kind of night out, shall we say.
Nice.
I ended up going to the cinema because there's a big showcase in the centre of town.
Yeah.
I need some reason to escape my flat, so I was like, let's go and watch a film. And I went to see The Invisible Man. And then I was like, I wonder if the Mother's Ruins, you know, kind of open.
Yeah.
Luckily, because it was really nice weather, you know, you could sit outside.
yeah.
And actually, you know, like one of the few bars which I do actually find kind of quite safe is the Mother's Ruin.
Yeah, it's a good place, isn't it?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I've seen some people getting some absolute states in that place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at one of them. Yeah,
Oh man, it's great that you can finally like get outside again. I think now things are opening up. The mental health is getting slowly better in everyone, right?
Yeah.
I,
Listen,
I do hope so. So I think that, I mean, like, I think that it's still going to take some time to get used to things.
mm,
I mean, like they've also started to do like out in that street. They've started to do performances down there occasionally.
nice.
They started like last Sunday. They've been having they're going to be having like a kind of like a live swing band sort of playing every Sunday afternoon sort of thing.
Yeah.
See,
And I think that's the thing is it encourages people to be around people again.
mm,
And I think I mean, like, obviously it's going to be really weird going back to like potentially festivals next year, you know, to see how they're going to be affected or which ones are going to survive even.
yeah. That's the question at the moment, isn't it? Which ones will still be here?
Because obviously, like, the one thing that we haven't seen is that because obviously the government announced a huge whopping 1.57 billion bailout for the arts, but
Mm,
which it took us 3 months to cut of campaigning to get,
yeah,
which we shouldn't have had. You know, it should have been offered to us, offered to the people
sooner.
a lot sooner.
Yeah.
You know,
It'd be interesting to see how that actually gets spent, though, because my guess will be theatres and places like that before the Mother's Ruin and, you know, like round there, like Pier Hat and stuff. See any of it, you know,
yeah, I think.
smallest.
I guess it's like how do you, and then how do you protect, you know, like the trickle down effect sort of thing.
Mm,
I mean, which I think is still a question which a lot of people are scratching their heads over.
yeah,
Yeah. It's a shame, like no one's prepared for it, so literally no one really has the solutions, I suppose. But
Mm.
would really be a good thing in the long term if the funding gets spent.
Yeah. But then also for me, it was like, right, if the government had stepped in right at the very beginning
Yeah.
and then they would have at least shown some support.
yeah. For a long time, it felt like the whole community around music was just being completely ignored and left for dead for
Yeah.
months. It's really sad, really sad to see that we're being ignored like that. But
People would be like, oh, you know, if you're feeling down or whatever, listen to music or watch a film, and it's like at the same time these are like institutes that are being completely underfunded and
yeah,
and stuff.
And the other thing which like it got me worried about was like kind of whether whether I know that sometimes with festival lineups or some festival lineups we can look at it and go like, yeah, we're definitely getting stuck in a weird nostalgia.
yeah.
Whether that would be happening, you know, especially for like young artists like yourselves,
Mm.
like, you know, how would you know, like kind of finding your way in amongst the dinosaurs, I guess.
It's a great way of putting it, man. Played enough festivals with the Libertines.
Yeah. God, yeah. And probably people even older as well.
Yeah. Oh god, I can't even think right now. But we've played some absolute fossils.
But I think that because I think that, you know, like obviously because there's like other things like people, you know, like developing technology to like, you know, like sort of virtual reality sort of thing.
Yeah.
And my initial instinct, especially if they for like music and live gigs, is that it's going to be the dinosaurs who take it over because they're probably going to be having the people who've got the money.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned HD cameras earlier on because there'll be like the vast majority of bands. It'll be like just streamed off of an iPhone.
Yeah.
And yeah, it shows you who's got the money to be able to afford to do that.
Yeah.
It's the dinosaurs.
Admittedly, like Nick Cave.
Yeah. And idols. But they're not dinosaurs, are they?
They're my age. Well, you're almost accusing me of being a dinosaur.
No, I apologise. I'm sorry.
I've got 2 more years before I can officially qualify myself as a dinosaur. But no, but I mean, like, but I think that it's interesting because I think that Actually, some of my favourite performances actually have come off iPhones.
Oh yeah.
Like I was watching. I remember seeing this South Korean hip hop outfit called Balming Tiger, and
Nice.
it was an entire 10-minute, entirely live performance where then they also worked out. It was all in one person's flat, but they entirely worked out the entire choreography. So they did this whole
Wow.
totally choreographed routine.
Yeah.
Whilst they were playing like I think it's about 3 songs that they performed.
Wow.
But it was just like, wow, okay, you really, really have worked out how to do this performance, haven't you?
Yeah.
To be
Then
fair,
Nice.
we'd have time to learn a full choreographed disco volador interpretive. Time we
maybe,
get-
then maybe that's an idea. Maybe that's what you should do. Is like kind of think about like kind of, like how you can use the time, to also like think about it, like positivities of mental health, and obviously to use it to be creative and maybe develop and challenge new ideas.
We've got a few new things in the pipeline that we're, moving into like some different mediums. I think we're trying to kind of adapt our sound to like film a little bit, and like maybe a short film is a plan at the moment. So.
I'll do it. Definitely go into filmmaking. Filmmaking is really rewarding. I mean, like, because I've made a few short films myself.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, because I was with a group called Bigger House Films.
Nice.
Nice.
Like basically, they're based like in the half in Bristol and half in Glastonbury,
Yeah.
and they basically specialize in helping. They were running a series of projects which was helping people like myself who qualify as learning disabled,
Hmm.
people with learning difficulties into filmmaking.
Wow. That's great.
And so I've done 3 short films with them. So each one of their projects was about a month long.
Right.
Yeah.
They had,
Where
like,
can we find those?
I'll have to like find the links and send them to you.
Yeah, I'd love to see them.
Like the first one was very much like an experiment of me, kind of like doing like an improvised beat poem,
Right.
with like lots of like kind of found sound and white noise and stuff.
Wow.
Then the second one I did, I decided I wanted to write, like a kind of garage rock song, or like a garage rock and roll song about my uncle Andrew, who's like really severely disabled.
Right.
Then the third one was about me being in hospital when I was 20, and like kind
Shit.
of, so they've all been kind of about me, but maybe about certain aspects of
Yeah.
Yeah.
people may or may not know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So the next thing which I've got to do, so like when we do officially end lockdown,
Yeah.
and this is probably gonna be the most pretentious challenge which I've set myself.
Yeah.
Is I've got to write my own musical.
Wow.
No way. Yes.
Big Jeff and you.
A stop motion musical based
Ah, yes. That sounds great.
based loosely on some of the things which I went through when I was like to the 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's great that you're basing your art around that, because it's a very cathartic process if you like attack these traumatic experiences head on, and by the time you've got a finished product, you've thought about a lot of things.
I mean, I used to have like a rap split personality, which is how I used to cope with things.
Right.
I used to have so it's about this kid who's like kind of got learning difficulties, but then suffers like bereavement
Right.
thing, and he basically, like myself, he develops like a split personality to deal with it,
Right.
sort of thing,
Wow.
or he envisages a split personality sort of thing.
Yeah.
It sounds really interesting.
Yeah. So so my thing was basically I would start writing, lyrics. I would literally, because I didn't always know emotionally how to open up to my parents even then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be like, right, okay, if you want to know what I'm feeling, I'll literally write a load of like kind of lyrics to like some industrial hip hop, which I really like. But then like me pretending to be actually any good at rapping, and I'd accidentally, leave them, just about the house sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
But then at the same time, it's like all the performances that I did as said character, basically I had to improvise them all because I kept on forgetting all the things that I had written.
Yeah.
Right.
So I knew the stories that I'd be telling, but
Yeah.
every single time it'd be slightly different.
Yeah.
But I had these really badly made backing tracks, and they were generally awful.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, sounds pretty cool.
yeah, I'd be on stage with like black and white face paint and like a bottle of tomato ketchup. I think,
Sounds very Dada, man. Very performance art. I like it.
yeah, I think that's the idea. I nearly always end up in my underpants, rolling in the floor, rolling.
Sounds great.
Because the whole thing was that I didn't want people to feel entirely comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like pure expression, man. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, it was kind of cool, but yeah, I definitely got into a little bit of trouble occasionally. I think the funniest reaction I had was because I was studying at the Access to Music in Bristol, and I was booked to play one of their end of year shows down at Thekla,
Right.
and basically they had someone from supposedly Sony, shall we say, phone up on the day and go like, "You're the biggest college, of this network college of this size, sort of thing. Do you have anyone that you'd recommend us signing?" Well, we've got this gig at Thekla, and
Calm down.
they literally turned up just as I was starting.
Nice.
They lasted about 10 seconds before like turning around to like one of the chasers go, "Bye bye," and like pegging it out the door. But hey, that's A&R people though, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I guess you guys must have had some experiences with some of those.
Yeah, just the one at Heavenly, Danny.
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
So,
Obviously, I haven't seen a lot of those guys for a long time. Because I think the last time I would have seen Danny would have been, God, probably actually when we were down at, what's that festival down in Totnes?
Sea Change. Nice.
Yeah, I think that would have been the last time I would have seen him. Would have been like sometime down at Sea Change, I think.
Wow. Like a year ago then.
No, I wouldn't actually. I didn't make it last year. I haven't made it for the past couple of years because they moved the dates.
Oh, really?
They moved it to May, so it like clashes with like Dot to Dot and Primavera Sound.
Ah, I see.
I would have been watching you guys at Dot to Dot last year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Playing at the academy.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
It was. Was that? Who did we play just before or after? Was it Trudy or Brad Stank?
Oh,
At that time.
I can't.
Played in the basement bit, yeah, and we watched a bit of the set and then like ran upstairs to settle.
Oh, yeah. God, feels like so long ago, doesn't it?
It does. Well, the thing is, especially when we're forced into a halt,
Yeah.
we don't necessarily think. We think, "Oh, look, time's flying by," and it's like, okay. The thing is that the way which I put it to someone else is that it's okay if we choose to be isolated for a bit, but then forced isolation, it's a hell of a lot different.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm lucky at the moment if I'm not in that highly pressured situation at the moment.
Yeah.
Whereas I know some people who definitely are, sort of thing.
Yeah, we've got certain privileges in the sense that like we have like a comfortable place to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, must be horrible for some other people.
I mean, I know that like one of my neighbours had to, she had to shield for about 3 months because she's got like kind of asthma sort of thing, and also she's got like a kind of really autistic son,
right,
as well, that she shares with her ex-partner sort of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, she said that because I bumped into her for the first time in ages, like yesterday, just as I was walking back from town. Just decided, right, okay, I'm going to go out and take myself out, you know, sometime during the daytime.
Yeah.
And one of the difficulties that she's going to have with her son is like reintroducing him to society, reintroducing him to like being around people again.
Yeah, true.
So I guess that a lot of people find it easier than other people. I mean, I'm still getting used to like having, you know, like kind of the fact I can go up and say hello to people now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still a little bit on tenterhooks.
Yeah, it was quite overwhelming when I first started going out as well. The social norms and seeing all those people at once was a little bit like overwhelming for me. So I can't imagine what it's like for other people.
Yeah. I mean, like, and that's the thing is that, but then like, I think it's like, it's a relief that we can, you know, kind of get back out there again.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's probably is like one of those things where we're going to have to get used to like supposed like new normalities to a certain extent.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they've just announced today that, you know, it's good, you know, applicable for today that we've all got to wear face masks when we're out shopping.
Oh yeah.
Which probably should have been introduced like.
Yeah. It's about 3 months too late, that one, I think.
Exactly. Well, it's been like I feel that the whole government's been 3 months too late for everything.
Yeah. It's been an absolute shambles, this Tory government.
Yeah. To be honest, it's like, well, we could probably go down like an entire rabbit hole, couldn't we?
Yeah, we could spend hours, man.
And go like, oh yeah, here's another embarrassing thing.
Yeah.
The government's turned it our name. But I mean, there's also like, I mean, I've also been using some of the time to do painting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Myself.
I noticed this ones on the wall behind you. They look really nice. Are those yours?
Some of them are, yeah. Like the ones like the like weird abstract faces, definitely mine.
Yeah. Look, really nice colours and form.
I'll show you another one actually. Just let me go and because I've done like because I did a series of self portraits as well.
Okay. Wow.
And so like I did. So I did one which was really sad, which is like really pale coloured. I did one which because of like generally if I'm painting, I'm trying to reflect what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
So like sometimes if it's like sometimes quite brightly coloured, then it can be like kind of like it's I'm feeling in, you know, good space sort of thing. And that sometimes with some of the paintings I've done, so I was due to actually have my first solo exhibition.
Wow.
You know, I was due to actually have it, you know, during the lockdown period.
Shit. I didn't know, man. Let's have a look at some paintings.
So this is me when I was really angry.
Wow.
That's
Bloody hell.
That's very Francis Bacon.
It is. I was just about to say. The distortion in the face and all those. So those colours that you like normally associate with anger, the dark blues and purples.
Blues and purples and reds. Kind of violet colours.
Yeah.
Thing. I mean, I guess it's because I was feeling angry because it was the day before the huge Black Lives Matter protest in Bristol.
Oh, I see.
And so it was like there was all the stuff going on from like the George Floyd murder. And so like I went down to the protest naturally just to show people like support sort of thing. I had a bit of a weird week that week actually, admittedly, like from the after effects.
Yeah.
I think it was quite a difficult week for everyone by the sounds of it, like everyone protested.
Yeah.
Like it kind of sat with everyone for a lot longer.
I think that's the thing is I think that what happened during the protest was such a huge event. You know, like they removed the statue of Edward Colston.
Yeah.
Like actually sent him in the river, which was freaking amazing.
He sleeps with the fishes.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, he's in the museum now. I think.
We took him out.
Which is where he should have been taken by the council in the first place.
Yeah.
Should have been, you know, removed like a long time ago. So that statue's been there for like I don't know, well over 40 years, 30, 40 years. And so it was like there'd been countless amounts of petitions and protests, you know, to the council sort of thing.
Yeah.
They'd done nothing. So it's basically like as if basically decided, hang on, we've got our own petition. Here's some grappling ropes. Pull it down. But then, so I found myself in a weird position with basically hours. I saw people circulating on, you know, like Twitter going, "Oh, we should replace it with a statue of Big Jeff," and it's like, no.
I saw that actually. Yeah.
Okay, so you want to replace a statue of like a white privileged guy who made probably money off, you know, slavery with another white privileged guy. What message is that sending to the actual people who set up the protests and the people, you know?
They replaced it recently with somebody, didn't they? And then it got
Yeah.
Jenny Reid. She's like, I think she's a hairdresser in Bristol. But yeah, I mean, like, I can understand why Marvin Rees took the action that he did. He's like the Bristol mayor.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough, because if it should be decided by Bristol people, really.
Yeah.
But because they haven't taken it away to be destroyed, they've taken it away to be put in an exhibit with the Edward Colston statue.
I see.
So it's like kind of, because what they've done is they also took all the placards from the protest.
Right. So there'll be an exhibition about.
Yeah, like an
cool
thing, like a big, you know, which is a proper tribute. You know?
Yeah. That's good. Education is the best way.
Yeah.
But then also like
preserving these like movements now, and like hopefully people will get way more educated on them.
Yeah. Not only that, but with British colonial history as well, and learning our own history is really important because slavery, racism has been rife in the UK.
Oh yeah,
as well as America.
I know it really has been rife. I mean, like I've seen stuff both sides of the pond, which has just made me like kind of absolutely aghast, really.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, yeah, but I also had a really weird situation because obviously, like, you know, Colston Hall, they're changing their name.
Yeah, wasn't that meant to be Big Jeff Hall as well?
I was like, no. I actively refused to. I mean, like, I wouldn't mind if they decided to name one of the smaller rooms, but not an entire building.
Yeah.
Not whilst I'm still alive, anyway.
Oh.
You know, if you know what I mean, because I think
Yeah.
that's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, to be honest, how can one person be representative of an entire city?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You can only ask yourself that question.
Yeah, that's true. I'm definitely not representative of an entire city.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that either, man. You're pretty much a legend at this stage.
It's I tried to refute that as much as possible.
It's understandable though. Like you just you know doing what you love, and as a consequence, have got the name that you have. But yeah, it shouldn't be about that really.
Hey, they might end up turning me into like into a statue, into like a sculpture. You know, like one of those kind of like wooden like deck chair, like armchair things. I mean, put me in the corner of every single one of the venues.
They should get a statue of you with your wristbands, fist thumping in the air.
I kind of have like my waterproof tucked over one arm with like a also like with a bag load of Tesco's croissants. They get me, then they've got to get me properly, you know.
Yeah.
Incredibly, like, yeah. I mean, I must admit, it has been like, I think the period has had its ups and downs, sort of thing. But yeah, I'll go and get like. So also another thing which I've been doing is that one of my friends is a model. She's been doing like every Monday morning. She's been doing a live drawing group.
Okay.
So she's been posing like in different costumes and stuff. So like, I've been filling up my Monday mornings by basically drawing her.
Wow.
So here's one of her
Wow, mate. So how were you feeling when you did this one?
I was feeling like it was,
Yeah,
it's quite interesting. So like I liked, I'm trying to obviously draw her sort of thing.
Yeah,
But she was admittedly posing in the nude. But
right.
I've never really done like the entire body.
Mm,
I've always kind of focused in on the face a lot.
yeah,
And I think that's, like same with like me and my paintings quite often I focus in quite in like the kind of like the face sort of thing.
mm. It's where all the emotion comes from, isn't it? All
Yeah.
the expression. You have such a good eye, man. You really do.
So like here's another one of her lying on her side sort of thing.
Wow. Mate, the shading in the face and on the neck is great. You have such a good eye.
Yeah. That's partly 'cause I just get it 'cause I come from like quite a creative family, I think.
I see.
Because like I know that my mum was an art student sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then like my gran on my dad my gran on my dad's mum was
Mm.
was a tapestry artist.
Wow.
Yeah. Some really, really amazing stuff.
Mm.
But she'd do like tapestry, but she'd make it look because of like she'd do like a painting first, like
Yeah.
color painting, and so she'd make the tapestry look like a watercolor painting.
Wow.
Yeah.
So skilled.
Yeah. And also it's about like I think the thing is though sometimes I think that people this is going to sound a bit pretentious, maybe. Sometimes people put up borders and say they just can't do something.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas actually, I think sometimes it's was that sorry?
Especially with art and stuff and music and film, it's so subjective. So
Yeah,
anybody can make things
yeah.
if
There's
it.
no rule.
There's no rule. It's about expression and emotion and just kind of conveying that in any which way that you see it, I guess. And
Yeah. Ultimately, if you have no formal training and you have no preconceptions, the art that people make in those scenarios is usually 10 times more pure and like unadulterated.
Yeah.
it's a bit like how I got involved with Independent Venue Week in the first place was really through it was kind of like actually through Tim Burgess
Oh yeah,
bulletins because
yeah.
I'd basically done a creative fan like letter writing kind of project where
Mm,
I'd written to like a load of musicians or like artists that I really admire. Like so like Björk, Leonard Cohen.
mm.
None of them had really seen their mail because I do them all in like very distinctive shapes and with like colour pens.
Right.
So sometimes they'd be spelling out their name.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
put the actual shape of the letter.
Wow.
So like obviously Tim Burgess's, I spelled out the name Tim,
Yeah.
Mm,
and I used it quite as a way of like sometimes asking people about their personal barriers.
mm,
So like I asked Tim Burgess about did he use like music as like a coping mechanism for dealing with like bereavement sort of thing,
mm.
some of the issues that he's been through, and then like I explained some of the stuff which I'd been through, and that sort of thing. I basically then decided to scan it into a computer and message it to him over Twitter.
Hmm.
Not expecting any response. Then literally about an hour or so later, I got a full A5 letter
Wow.
kind of back from him going, wow, okay.
yeah.
And then it must have been about a few months later that he was ambassador for Independent Venue Week.
Mm. Is that because of his listening party things he's been doing?
Oh no, this is long before that. This was like talking about 2016.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, about 2016ish sort of thing. So, that he basically messaged me and said, "Hey, look, I'm doing something really cool. Do you want to be involved?"
Mm.
The words "fuck yeah." It basically kind of came left out of my mouth effectively. Then what? Then like, so they asked me to curate a show in Bristol.
Mm.
I got to pick some of my favourite Bristol bands to play.
Nice.
I tried to get, you know, like as across the spectrum of music as I possibly could.
Mm.
So I remember we had like Kayla Painter, who's a really incredible electronica producer. I mean, she's been doing performances which have been site-specific performances.
Yeah.
Right.
She works with like a visual projection artist, and so like she did like one performance, and they both of them would be exactly the same time in the evening.
Mm.
Did one performance in like which would be where they'd be beaming the visuals against like an abandoned office block sort of thing. So it's like very industrial, and she'd be performing from her studio sort of thing.
Right.
It'll be done like live in real time.
Mm.
And so it's like the first set that she did was like obviously quite industrial because it's reflecting a lot more of the city.
Yeah.
And then the second set that she did, they found somewhere in the countryside, which is like really nice. And it was
Yeah.
interesting watching, you know, how she'd especially curated her sets to
Yeah.
suit.
The environment. Oh.
Makes me think about, you know, like obviously with you guys, do you think you're gonna like think about, you know, how you're gonna interact with the environment? I guess.
Maybe we go to space.
Yeah.
Do the next round. Nah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, just as we were saying, like it is interesting now that we've all been more in touch with nature throughout lockdown, and like I think field sounds and recordings and stuff will be way more incorporated into our sounds for the future, and like kind of like new ways of creating sound, full stop, really.
Yeah. We were actually in Sid's bedroom that you see there after lockdown. We saw each other again, and we're playing these like atmospheric jams, just very like low key. And there was a thunderstorm going on outside, so we like opened up the window and let the rain be part of the music we were making. It was really nice to have. It was like really, really low key, hardly any rhythm, just sounds. It was really nice.
I think that sometimes it's really interesting. So actually, you know, if I was to give like a music lesson to a group of kids, is that I probably would just give them a load of dictaphones and go like, right, run round and hit as many things as possible.
Yeah.
Sounds can you make?
Yeah.
'Cause I think there is like, because I think that sometimes when people do think about instruments, it can be quite intimidating.
Mm. Yeah.
Also, I think like, when I'm listening to music, the things that like intrigue me the most about songs is the sounds that you can't quite pinpoint. Like that doesn't sound like a guitar, or like even a
They're
guitar
very ambiguous.
sound like something different.
Yeah.
Sometimes I imagine myself, you know, when I'm listening to like some records where I go like, oh look, I can hear a brass section there.
Yeah.
Might be like a guitar being played through EBO or something like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, played through like certain effects units, but then like what also probably I think that I mean I remember also like seeing this performance from a disabled orchestra, and there's a company based in Bristol called Soundbeam.
Yeah.
Right.
And what they do is they basically use infrared kind of like lasers to like kind of create instruments.
Wow.
It's like it's like they have like the laser, but you can play individual notes by literally like kind of moving your hand, you're like kind of your hand up and down the laser sort of thing.
Wow.
Like
a
on a little bit. Is that
theremin.
yeah.
Kind of like a theremin, but with like but the fact that you've got like over 100 instrument voices.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I guess with that way, you could use technology as a way of like taking away the barrier for people in some way.
Yeah. Well, like traditional instruments can be quite elitist in like the learning how to use them, which is why synthesizers and plugins and just being able to play things off of the laptop keyboard has been great for people accessing music.
Yeah, but also but also what this does, it also allows people who especially who don't even have access to that.
Yeah, true.
people who like kind of wheelchair bound, or like it was like really amazing. So some of the people could only like literally blink and move their eyes.
Yeah.
They have
Oh wow.
kind of like technology which was reading the movement and like controlling the sounds being made.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't clock it would be that
Yeah.
specific. Wow.
Or like the fact that I mean, I remember watching this group, or like this one particular performance where they were doing, you know, like Four Seasons, Vivaldi's Four Seasons,
Mm.
and it was because they inadvertently turned it into like a krautrock banger, and you know, one of those sorts of things where it was kind of like brilliantly all over the place in the best possible way.
Mm.
I mean, you're watching like people who like literally they'll have like lasers on their hat and like rings with like lasers on, sort of thing. So, but and like the lasers would be reading like the movement of the hands, the fingers,
Mm.
sort of thing, and it'd be like creating like, yeah, I guess note formations and stuff like that.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Mm.
Yeah. I know I had a go on one of them once for like a person's university documentary,
Mm.
and yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that, and I think that's sometimes. I was just going to say this: that sometimes I think that people do get held back because they'll see someone playing and they go, "Oh, I'm not as good as him," or "I'm not as good as that," sort of thing.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Whereas if you take away that barrier, it's like, right, go for it. You can do it.
Yeah. 100%.
I think that's definitely something which has held me back previously.
Mm.
It's me questioning a lot. Am I good enough? Am I, you know, ever going to be good enough to do anything? Whereas like now it's become like, hey, do you want to do something creative? I'm like, yep, just chuck me in the deep end and see if I float.
Yeah.
In it, like the more creative things you seem to do, and the more fields you throw yourself into, like the more confident you become, and like naturally that's what makes you better. And it's not even about being good or bad at it, but like the confidence is there, then the enjoyment is there, and
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think that sometimes maybe it's in Western culture where we do become quite almost competitively judgmental,
yeah.
and I think whether that's, do you think that might be anything to do with like maybe the education system?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think,
Definitely. Yeah.
as you say, like Western culture is so aimed towards like end goals and like progress and stuff, whereas other cultures are more about the process and they more focus on like a more holistic way of like how you feel about when you're doing certain creative things. Whereas like for some reason,
And also it feels like if within the education system, it's kind of like, it feels like as if it's still like kind of very much geared like this, if and fixed like this way or no way else. They don't really think that people can learn in different ways.
Yeah. They're only just realizing that now, aren't they? That lots of different types of learners, whether it be visual, auditory, or
Mm.
you know.
Or hands on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, because when I was growing up, I grew up in a small village called Horsley,
Right.
and we had literally about 5 minutes down the road from where I was living, there was like a special needs college university called Ruskin Mill, and they basically taught people confidence through, and you know, helped them deal with like a lot of their issues, because a lot of people would have, you know, whether it be like kind of autism, Asperger's,
Mm.
mental health, learning difficulties, sort of thing. But they'd be teaching them, you know, like things like kind of country skills and life.
Wow.
So they'd be like teaching them whether it be stuff like woodwork or stuff like stone walling, and kind of, or whether it be, I guess they had like a fish farm, so they'd be looking after the fish, sort of thing.
Mm.
I mean, it was huge, like kind of huge thing. So it was like owned by someone who's like basically a bit of a multimillionaire, sort of thing.
yeah.
And he literally owned like 3/4 of the valley, sort of thing. And but it did so much, you know, as if to help people.
Wow, that's great, man.
Also helped for me. It helped normalise people with autism.
Yeah. I'm sure it's quite easy to feel very different, isn't it? Like,
Yeah. I think yes and no. I think just being open about it. People are still learning to do that, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
I guess that's what it's mainly about. Create a dialogue on it, and then it's more normalised for people, especially for younger people. I think it's important because then you grow up just, you know, acknowledging it, but not acknowledging it as an issue or something that separates you from someone else.
I think that. I mean, I've always had those kind of people around me anyway. I think I've always had like kind of outside, shall we say, outsider kind of types and traits.
Yeah.
I knew a long time even before I got, officially diagnosed with being on the autistic spectrum, that I was somewhere on there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Just because of partly because of when I went to secondary school, I went to the loads of child psychologists sort of thing,
Right.
child behavioural psychologists. I mean, for frick's sake, I even went up to London one time to go and see a child behavioural psychologist sort of thing.
Mm.
And it's just like, yeah, I'm definitely like an outsider.
Mm.
To be honest, I much prefer being an outsider than an insider.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I prefer seeing myself as like someone who's basically sits on the fringes staring in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice way of putting it.
for sure.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this, guys. By the way.
It's been our pleasure, man. It's been really nice to see you again.
Yeah, even if it's just been via a screen.
Yeah.
Hopefully within next year. Hopefully, who knows when I'll see you guys actually next.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be together again, Jeff.
Yeah, there'll be some way.
Yeah.
Death do us part, maybe. Probably. I know. Probably a wrong image, isn't it? Well, anyway, guys, is that right if I call you Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Lovely.
Much for doing it.
It's okay, man.
Keep up with the paintings as well.
Yeah.
I've got loads more stuff to work on.
Yeah, nice.
Sweet.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Good to see you.
You too, dudes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.